Hi lovelies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Belinda Strana. Thank you so much for all the love and support. To my returning subscribers, to those people that share my videos, leave commentaries, and also educate each and every one of us. You guys are the real MVP. So guys, I came out this video on my for you and I thought to share where pan-colored people, white people are actually reacting to the fact that Orange Man made a statement. He goes as far as to talk about how the home girls are the next. Like, these got people reacting like, who is he referring to? Who are going to be the next people to actually deport if you are not agreeing to whatsoever policy that is intended to bring forward? Lovelies, I'm just going to roll the clip because this actually got a lot of people reacting, and I was able to put up some stitches from pine-colored people because I actually want to know what they have to say with all of the things going on. Please leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video. Subscribe to this channel if you're yet to do that, and let's dive into it.
Homegrowns are next. The homegrowns built. You got to build about 5 more places.
You know what, Mr. Trump? I had high hopes for you, man. You know, a lot of people put their hopes and their dreams in you that you're going to change this country for the better. And all I've seen is you going back on the words you said you were going to not commit to any more foreign wars. And all I've seen is more war. All I've seen is your commitment to Israel's success and their insane endeavors that they're doing over there. And I've seen very little display of any true patriotism or true dedication to the American people. And then you say shit like this. I don't give a fuck if somebody's committed a crime in this nation. I don't give a fuck if a citizen has stolen a car or done anything like that, or even heinous criminals, man. You cannot start deporting criminals. So where does it stop? Who dictates who's criminal? That line can be skewed very quickly. And you're talking about deporting American citizens? Go fuck yourself.
Homegrowns are next. The homegrowns built. You got to build about 5 more places.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. It's not big enough.
No, yeah.
Come on. So this is a much different office than you're.
He means you. You're homegrown. You're a citizen. You are homegrown. You're next. You're the person he's going to send to a prison in El Salvador next, without due process, without a criminal conviction. You're the person who, when the Supreme Court says you got to return him, he's going to say, no, I don't. No, I don't. You're next. You're next. How do you defend this? How do you even begin to defend this? No criminal conviction, no charges. They admitted that they shouldn't have deported him. He had a status that protected him. What do you think homegrown means? I don't even know where to begin with this. This is the beginning and the ending. This is all of it. This is indefensible. Indefensible. To anyone who wants to try to defend this, I have one question. If we ever get in control again, do we get to do this to you? No? Then you know it's wrong.
Homegrowns are next. Do you know what that means? It means you, dude. It means you. If you were born in an American hospital, that means you. You're next. It means we're at the end of that poem. You know, the one where people are like, first they came for, then they came for, and when they came for me, nobody was there to speak for me. It's you. If you have an American birth certificate, homegrowns are next means you. If you ever say anything that this current crop of people making all the laws decide is too dangerous, and keep in mind, okay, all that people have said so far, they got them completely, planed away, was I would rather the tax dollars here not be spent on completely sculling lots of school children, right? So if you say anything like that or worse, that's you're behind his grass, my friend. Like let's just talk honestly about what this means. Homegrowns are next. You're gonna have to build 5 more of those facilities, is how he put it, in order to keep all the people. 5. They're talking about people here in the United States with any felonies that they deem as being too radical. You speak out too much against the administration's foreign policy, gone. You speak too much about the administration's domestic policy, like how they, administer food stamps or Social Security, gone. Maybe you want to take that bet? You want to take that bet that you're going to be the one dissident who gets away? I really, really would encourage you not to.
Correct. The homegrowns will be anti-Trump people, not real criminals. Yes, he is that hateful and petty. I believe it was my other account I talked about this on. But just a quick Google search here with me. Dissenters of the party faced severe consequences, including arrest, imprisonment, torture, execution, and deportation to concentration camps. The Gestapo and other authorities actively suppressed any opposition using show trials and summary justice to target resistance groups and individuals. Many dissenters were members of the Social Democratic Party or other groups that the deemed enemies of the state. This has happened before, people. Like, there's history to teach us what is going to happen if we don't stop what is currently happening under this administration. It won't stop with criminals, with immigrants. It won't stop with brown people or black people. If you're not a straight, white, heterosexual, I already said straight, cisgender, male, Christian, you're not safe. If you've ever sent a text message, recorded a video, or done anything expressing your disdain with Donald Trump, you're not safe. If you have a family member who is LGBTQ or you yourself, and you don't self-report or turn your family member in, you're not safe. We're not safe. Correct.
Homegrowns are next. Yeah, he's coming for all of us. Donald Trump, in a recent meeting with El Salvador's president, doubled down on a previous idea of sending U.S. citizens to foreign concentration camps abroad. With Donald Trump saying homegrown criminals next, I said homegrowns are next, the homegrowns. You got to build about 5 more places, referring to concentration camps. Now, Donald Trump is trying to soften the blow of statements like this by saying that he's really only referring to like violent criminals, people doing really heinous things within the borders of the so-called United States. But it's very clear, if you've been watching and paying attention, what the trajectory is here. The Trump administration is using this idea of like violent criminals in all of our communities to justify fascist policymaking and the continued funding and support of fascist agencies and institutions like ICE and the DHS. And as we've seen from the arrest of students like Mahmoud Khalil and others, it's very clear that what Trump is actually doing is not simply targeting violent criminals, but targeting those he views as dissidents and people he sees as quote-unquote undesirables. He uses the rhetoric of violent criminals, of illegals, and more because he knows that more people in this country are willing to accept the fascist actions when the target population is not them. When the target population is someone framed as undesirable, a leech on the system, someone causing harm. But the goal here is, and really always has been, fairly obvious, right? He's trying to widen the net as far as possible so he can use these sorts of agencies and policies against whoever he deems as opposition. And a lot of people are probably going to wake up over the next couple of years being very surprised over just how easily their lives have been able to be classified as threats to national security or threats to the status quo. Fascism is here and it is alive and well, and it is up to us to decide what happens next. Something really worth thinking about, I think. But yeah, as always, assalamu alaikum and have a great day.
To get home to film this shit. Homegrowns are next. Donald Trump just stated homegrown criminals are next. Dude, you're calling your own fucking American people criminals. That doesn't sound very fucking presidential. It actually just sounds like you're targeting Americans. President of the United States, ladies and gentlemen. What a fucking disappointment. I actually couldn't wait to get home to film this.
The homegrowns are next. He said it. We heard it. You and me, we're next. Those of us born on American soil, natural-born citizens, we're next. He said it standing next to the president of El Salvador. And then we heard him, in his soft, jestful voice, say, maybe we need 5 more of these places. To which I can only assume he meant for these future homegrown criminals. Who, in his words, he also talked about the mentally deranged, right? If you're going to have any country at all, they need to go. But the thing that is very ironic, and in my opinion, if he was serious about what it is he's talking about whatsoever, he would be putting himself on a flight tomorrow morning and admitting himself in El Salvador to one of these prisons for the rest of his life. But he's not serious. He's not serious about law and order. He's serious about getting rid of anyone who doesn't align with what he thinks. And I know that a lot of you already know that. And the ironic thing is, something I don't think he's really thought out because he's not a smart human being, is that the vast majority of people that live in this country, I would wager, don't have criminal records. In fact, I would even argue that the majority of people in this country have never had any criminal activity in their entire life. So, what is going to be classified as mentally deranged in some point in the future, huh? What are these crimes that the homegrown, natural-born citizens of this country are going to be accused of, indicted upon, and sentenced thereof, huh? Because I'm not a criminal. I have no criminal record whatsoever. I'm almost 47 years old, born on American soil in the state of Oregon. No criminal record. And it's hilarious hearing this coming from someone who sits in the highest position of this land, who is a notorious criminal, a renowned name that you could, when you say the name Trump, notorious for being involved in decades of litigation, civil criminal litigation. Not me, not you. So how is he going to fill these places that he jokes about with criminals that don't exist? What is it that we are going to be accused of being guilty for? Opposing him? Speaking out against him? Calling him things that, in our opinion and lived experience, he fits the bill? And he's not going to like what we say about him, so is that going to be our crime? Believing that he's a malignant narcissist, is that going to become a crime to believe that about him? To say that he's a criminal and a felon and he's defrauded who knows how many people in the decades that he's been doing it? Is that going to become a crime to point out actual things he's done? Documented things? Because I wouldn't put it past him to make those things criminal activities if he's allowed to keep doing what he's doing. And if the Supreme Court doesn't do something about his neglect and his disregard for what it is that they have advised him he needs to be doing with the return of a certain person that was sent to El Salvador, then I say, why do any of us listen to anything that the Supreme Court says? When they ruled to overturn Roe v. Wade, why are any of the doctors, physicians, gynecologists, midwives, dietitians, why are any of those that give the health care to women during their pregnancy and delivery, and during the times when things happen naturally, like miscarriages or ectopic pregnancies, or they have complications, why are any of those medical professionals right now listening to that order? Donald Trump has set an example that he doesn't really care what the Supreme Court said in a unanimous decision. So why do they care? And why do we care about what the Supreme Court said in a non-unanimous decision concerning women's health care and bodily autonomy, reproductive rights? Why do we care? What are they going to do? Arrest every single doctor, physician, gynecologist, dietitian, midwife, medical professional that gives advice to women during prenatal care or postnatal care? Are they going to come in and arrest every single person in that field that does that? But they won't arrest him. They won't make him do something that's been ordered by the Supreme Court. Why are we all scared? Why are we scared of Donald Trump? I'm not talking about me. I'm just mean collectively. Why are all these people afraid of him? He's a weak, insecure human being. And that's why he's doing all the things he's doing. Because that is the only way that he can get what he wants, is to exert force and control and oppression. He can't get those things any other way. Because people don't want those things. People don't want to be oppressed. People want to have autonomy over their body. Men have it. Just like with what they're doing right now with the SAVE Act. I talked about this in another video. Those who he's surrounded himself with have been vocal in the last year or two about the idea of repealing the 19th Amendment. But that would be a very steep mountain to climb. And that requires a lot more than just having the House pass the SAVE Act that goes to the Senate and potentially exercise coverture over women who have taken the last name of those they are with. Because they never cared about marriage, let alone traditional marriage. Traditional marriage was just when the woman took the man's name, because then she was owned by him. She was under his authority. And that's what they're trying to exercise right now with women's name, with their last names, so that it makes it harder for them to vote, because they know that repealing the 19th Amendment is a little more difficult. That may not go over so well. But if they can pass this with their majority in the House and get a few Democrats to join who apparently don't care about exercising coverture over their families and their wives, let alone that women voted for this, then that's what they'll do. Because that's the only way they can get anything done, is to use force and oppression. And I think it's time that all of us say, we are not afraid. We are not afraid of them. We are not criminals. I have no criminal record whatsoever. I've worked 30 years of my life. I got my degree in college, 6 years of college. I've been married 20 years. I have 2 kids. I've done the steps we were told. I've always gotten along with everybody. What crimes am I going to be guilty of? What crimes are you going to be guilty of? For simply speaking out against someone who's trying to destroy every single thing that we hold dear? That's not a crime. That's our duty. That's our obligation. That's what we should do. And we are able to do that because of the idea that we were told growing up that this is the land of the free and the home of the brave. And we better do it while we can, before we become criminals for saying the truth. Because that is what he wants.
Things are beginning to get more difficult. Like, things are not going to be as easy as the way it used to be. Like, sooner or later, your freedom of speech might actually be taken away from you. You wouldn't have any opportunity to speak your mind, to speak freely, or to actually have an opinion, because your opinion does not really matter. And if you want to pursue or want to try to disagree with what they have agreed, or maybe trying to have your opinion, or trying to whatsoever that is happening or this administration is doing is not favorable, it's not good, you are going to be cancelled. So it is actually a time to be very careful, to be very mindful with what you say and with whatsoever. So as you all know, there's this thing that's been going up all over social platform about this guy who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador. And the Supreme Court actually, talked about them, transferring him back to the state. But these guys refused. And people are upset. People are like, are you sure he's still okay? Are you sure he's still breathing? Or he's been unalived? I am also being careful right now. Because things are getting more tighter. Not only do people are so upset with what is going on, people are terrified and in panic mode, because you wouldn't know what you would say and they will come for you. For him to make that statement, so many people were like, trying to research to know why he has to make such statement, and a lot has to find out that what he actually meant was, you might actually be a citizen. You might have all of the documentation that you think that you have, a pure citizen, but you might actually also be at a risk of getting deported to El Salvador. That is to tell you that it is not longer about you being a documented or undocumented immigrant. There is more to it. There is more that meets the eyes. Like, I know it all started by undocumented immigrant have to deport them back to their countries. They have to go out, do things in due process, like do things in the right way. But the way at which things are going right now, I actually think that this has nothing to do with you being undocumented. They are actually trying to come for people who really does not agree with their policy. If someone can tell you that I am a king, kings mean king mean that they can change, do and undo rules and regulations. They can do whatever they want. Like it is their decision is the final. So if you as an individual want to challenge their authority, you will have yourself to be blamed. I hope that whosoever who that contributed with all of the things that is happening now is so happy. I hope that the majority is very, very pleased with the outcome of what you contributed in. Imagine you on your own with your full chest. Nobody forced you. You decided that this was what you want for yourself and for your friends and family. Like, you don't even have a freedom to speak. No freedom of speech anymore. There is no freedom of speech. If you speak, they might come and get you deported to El Salvador, and nobody's gonna know your whereabouts anymore. Just like this man, that's people don't even know where he is right now. Like things are getting tougher each and every passing day. And the worst part is that nobody is doing anything because there is nothing anyone can do about it. The only thing people can do about it is to just comment and rant about it. And just talk and talk and talk and rant about it. Because even if you have that zeal to, they might come for you. You know? So if you're someone like me, I think you just need to calm yourself. You need to be very careful and tread carefully because if it happens to this person, that means no one is actually safe. You know? But let's just continue hoping for the best. Let's continue hoping for a better future ahead. Anyway, lovely one, just leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video. Please subscribe to this channel if you're yet to do that. Like, and I will see you, lovely when I upload the next one.